The Chicago Wolves eliminate the Grand Rapids Griffins in 4 games to win the Central Division matchup.
Welcome to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast.
Welcome back to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. We are a podcast brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network, and we are sponsored by DraftKings. I'm one of your hosts, Connor.
And I'm the other host, Kyle. We're a show by fans for fans. We are not officially partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins or Detroit Red Wings. We bring you this show as season ticket members looking to spread the news of the Grand Rapids Griffins. Unfortunately, it's not good news today. The Grand Rapids Griffins have been eliminated from the Calder Cup playoffs. Their season is over in 4 games against the Chicago Wolves. Put up a fight in the end, but not enough to reclaim the victory.
Yeah, it's a real disappointment. Me and Kyle kind of both were hoping we'd at least make it to the conference finals this year. Looked like we had a good enough team to do that, so it's kind of, we feel like a little bit early of an exit than we wanted, but
I think the general consensus is it's an early exit for Grand Rapids, especially with the season ticket members and people that have been paying attention all season.
Yeah, but that's kind of the way it's gone around the AHL too, though. On the other side, the Province Bruin, the team that actually won the regular season, they got eliminated. So,
Yep. So it looks like with the Griffin season being over, they will send Edwards Traumax and Michael Brandsegg-Nygard across seas to play for their respective countries in the IIHF International Tournament. So good luck to those gentlemen playing across seas.
and that would be Team Latvia for Traumax and Norway for Michael Brandsegg-Nygard.
So, and then obviously the AHL Calder Cup playoffs continue, where it'll be the Colorado Eagles versus the Chicago Wolves, a matchup that we would have liked to be in. Unfortunately, we are not for the Western Conference Finals. And then we have for the Eastern Conference, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins will play whoever wins the matchup versus Toronto Marlies and Cleveland Monsters.
Yeah, so almost down to the Final Four. Real disappointing that we couldn't make it there.
No, but as always, we'll try again next year. And knowing that this team and this veteran core is locked up, only good things lined up for the future here in Grand Rapids. So a lot to look forward to. But we can kind of get into these game reviews as we'll cover today the final 2 games versus Chicago Wolves, Game 3 and Game 4 that were played in Allstate Arena. We will get into Game 3 versus the Chicago Wolves.
So Game 3 of the Central Division Finals, the Grand Rapids Griffins take on the Chicago Wolves at the Allstate Arena, 8 p.m. May 19th. The Grand Rapids Griffins start with Michael Postava once again, who they went with the whole entire playoff run. He had 17 stops for 20 attempts, 20 shots.
And Caden Primo starts for Chicago Wolves as he has all playoff long. He makes 42 saves on 46 shots. So Grand Rapids Griffins offense really coming alive in Game 3, but minimal scoring from Caden Primo. So we'll go over the goals here. Griffins open the scoring 1 minute and 13 seconds into this game. Carter Mazer with a meteor, Bob Kaiser says, gets his 5th goal of the playoffs and picks up where he left off in the Moose series.
Yeah, and great assist by Amadeus Lombardi and Michael Postava.
That puts the Griffins up 1-0. John Leonard will put the Griffins up 2-0 3 minutes later with his first goal of the playoffs, assisted by Sheldon Dries on the power play.
Yeah, this was the Leonard Laser, as Bob Kaiser said.
Got the Mazer Meteor and the Leonard Laser. Great.
So Griffins up 2-0. And then the Chicago Wolves come and strike back.
Yeah, Fensori, he'll get the play as the defenseman. He'll get the puck, and he'll come in on the left side with speed and just gets open. He's got a lot of speed on him. Gets open down that left side, fires it in, and beats Postava high left side over the blocker. High right side over the blocker.
Great play by Dominic Fensori.
And that'll put Chicago 2-1 in this game. That one a minute after Leonard scores.
So the Chicago Wolves, shortly after that, go on to the power play, and they capitalize. Justin Robidas gets it in there, assisted by Felix Ungersorum and Huso Balamaki. Power play goal at 14:42.
Yeah, and this one, I believe, this is off the William Laugesen high sticking double minor. So Grand Rapids Griffins felt like they were on the power play a lot in this period, starting off early. And then, Chicago is just not a team that you can play with on the power play. They just pass it around. And as soon as Felix Ungersorum touches that puck, it's game over. So Robidas to collect this goal.
Yeah, the Griffins outshot the Wolves by double, 16-8 in that first period. Just great play by Premio.
Yeah, and as always, the great play by Caden Primo leads to these sneaky opportunities for the Wolves to just capitalize on an instant's notice and walk out of this period tied 2-2.
Yeah, so then we go into the second period, and the Wolves strike first in the second. Felix Ungersorum gets a nice goal over Postava on the power play. It's his third of the year, assisted by Blardy Nadeau and Ryan Suzuki. So Wolves get the power play chance and capitalize. 5:27 in.
Yep, and that puts them up 3-2. So Griffins now facing elimination down deep. And what a good time to call back in Tyler Engel for him to make this heroic effort here as he gets the call to play today. Tyler Engel puts this one on the power play right over the shoulder of Caden Primo to make this a 3-3 game and tied, leaving the second period. That one was assisted by Eric Gustafson and Wojtek Stakowiak.
Big power play goal. A lot of power play goals in this playoffs. The Griffins really capitalized more than usual on the power play than in the past, but still would like to see more, honestly.
Yeah, and great shot by Engel and great time to shine as he came off as a healthy scratch in the last game and gets the chance in this one, and he's been clutch all year, so really not shocked that he nailed this puck in the top corner.
Yeah, so third period comes out, and there's no scoring. A lot of hate and adrenaline in this one. At some point in this game, Amadeus Lombardi gets hit and goes down. Mazur comes in for his defense, punches the crap out of the guy, and then, really brutal third period with no scoring, and that sends us into overtime.
Yeah, and as we go into overtime, intensity is high. Grand Rapids has to win to move on, otherwise they are eliminated. And getting eliminated in 3 games straight would not feel or settle well with anybody.
Yeah, they got a power play early on in overtime, and we didn't capitalize on that one. And me and Kyle were looking at each other thinking, we can't capitalize here. We might not win this one. And then out of nowhere, Michael Brandsegg-Nygard pulls down, does some Dasukian moves, pulls it out between 2 defenders, and does a backhand shot right behind Caden Primo, sending the Griffins into Game 4, keeping them alive. Amazing clutch performance by Michael Brandsegg-Nygard.
Yeah, as he's done all playoffs, he has shown that he can be a clutch player that can score at a moment's notice and when the time is right. So, Brandsegg-Nygard, thank you for giving the Griffins another game out of this. That one assisted by Sheldon Dries and Eric Gustafson. And that halfway through the overtime period, they win this one 4-3, a big win. And again, thanks to Michael Brandsegg-Nygard for getting the Griffins to Game 4.
Yeah, Griffins really out shooting the Wolves in this game, 46-20. Crazy over doubling them in the shots, but Caden Premu and the Wolves defense hold out.
Ostava played as usual. I thought he looked good, but again, a couple of goals in this one that you really would like to see him save. And unfortunately, that power play of Chicago is just so lethal. They were able to capitalize on 2 of 3. And Grand Rapids on the power play just not looking good in this one, only getting 2 of 7. So a lot of wasted opportunities after a lot of physical activity, and just not being able to capitalize on those really hurt in this game. But Michael Brandsegg-Nygard able to pull it out in overtime.
Yeah, really good performance in Chicago. Given another chance to survive for the next night.
We'll move on to game 4 after our DraftKings ad.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. When the ice gets coldest, the best players in the world show you exactly who they are. Playoff warriors turn it up round by round, and DraftKings turns it up with them from the first round all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Bet player props, bet live, from the opening faceoff to the final horn. Every moment matters. New DraftKings customers, bet just $5 and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $100 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
So getting into game 4, May 21 at Allstate Arena, Grand Rapids Griffins. Do or die.
So, yeah, May 21st, they come out with Michael Postava again, as he makes 18 of 21 saves in this game, and Caden Premo makes 33 of 35 saves. So the matchup continues. No goal for the Griffins.
So first period starts out a pretty evenly matched first period in shots. Griffins have 9 and the Chicago Wolves have 8. Not much getting past this Wolves defense or Griffins defense, kind of shutting down everything along with both goalies shutting down everything.
Pretty dismal as a team that's playing for against elimination.
Despite the Griffins having 2 power play opportunities and a little bit of 4-on-4 time, I believe, in there too. Michael Brandsegg-Nygard getting a penalty, they kill that off. But besides that, first period, pretty evenly matched, not much happened.
So going on to the second period, Chicago Wolves will open the scoring with Noah Philp, who gets his 3rd goal of the playoffs, assisted by Nystrom and Cal Foote. Nystrom with the shot here from pretty far out, and Philp able to tip this one in right down beneath the pads of Postava. So Chicago Wolves opening this one up 1-0.
Yep, and that is the only scoring in the second, but there's 2 more Griffins power plays that we could not score on. And another kill for the Griffins also. So going into the third period, Chicago starts to take over things. Noah Philp gets his 2nd of the night, his 4th of the playoffs, assisted by Cal Foote and Felix Unger-Sorum at the 4:02 mark. Just not good going down 2, and Griffins kind of go into panic mode.
Yeah, absolutely go into panic mode. I mean, at this point, you got to look for someone to step up. someone's got to come in to save the day. You would hope maybe you could get to see Shine do something good here, but unfortunately he wasn't the answer either. He had like 3 opportunities he had the puck on a breakaway. He lost it, kind of was looking for the pass, but there was no one around to pass it to and just lost it off his stick. And a couple opportunities went for naught for Dominic Shine. So,
and then you got the fact that you lost Amadeus Lombardi the game before, and then losing Carter Mazer earlier in this game isn't good. So those are 2 of your clutch guys. So you're kind of looking at Trail Max and Michael Brandsegg-Nygard, the dudes who've really kind of stepped up earlier in the playoffs to come through or shine.
Yeah, and not forgetting about Leonard or Dries as well in this situation, as they were shooting the puck. I mean, a lot of these guys were shooting the puck in this third period. There's a lot of pressure on Caden Primo. We had 35 shots total in this game, but a lot of them came here in the third as we were just dumping pucks in. But Primo, just being a brick wall that he was all series, continues the things until finally Justin Robidas gets the 3rd goal in a row for Chicago and really kind of sets things off here. So his 3rd goal assisted by Suzuki and Nadeau. They just get speed in on the defense and burn them. Suzuki gets a pass all the way across to Robidas, just tips it right over the pads of Postava. I mean, great play by them, but leaves us in the dust.
Yep, and then in desperation, the Griffins pull a goalie, and then in some miracle, Edwards Chalmax comes up with a goal. There's a kind of a scrum behind the net, comes right out, and he gets it right into the goal, knocks it in from behind, and gets his 4th of the playoffs at 17-13, so making it 3-1
with
3-1 game.
2:47 left.
And then we come down and we get a face-off in their zone with about 20 seconds left, and Michael Brandsegg-Nygard takes a whack at it and gets it tipped in by Sheldon Dries for Dries' 2nd goal of the playoffs, leaving about 15 seconds almost on the clock for the Griffins to try to come back and rally. They come down, they get the puck on the net, they do everything they can, but they cannot score, in the Griffins' 2026 historic season comes to an end.
Yeah, really sad thing. I mean, got to give respect to the Wolves. I know me and Connor talked to Tom Ray before this, and I think they were ready for this matchup. They did everything right against a great Grand Rapids team. Spiros Anastas comes up just really with a masterclass coaching performance against the Griffins, and leaves a lot of questions for the whole Red Wings future here again.
Yeah, it definitely was a little bit of an early exit compared to what we were kind of hoping for. I actually thought this team had the ability to win the cup. I mean, we would have had home field advantage the entire way. I think it was kind of a season of coming up short. Like most of the records we came up short by 1 game, like the consecutive games in a row, the consecutive points in a row. Like all these things slightly just fell out, just out of reach. The best team in the regular season fell out of reach right at the end there.
Nope.
And I just kind of had a feeling that we might just fall short in this one. And turns out we did. But there's always next year, and we're going to have to retool and rebuild because there's a lot of players that are going to be moving in different directions. I'm pretty sure Eddie Gedborg is going to be gone. Trail Max, I think, is not coming back to GR.
No.
There's just a lot. Michael Brandsegg-Nygard will probably be up on the Detroit Red Wings. Kosas, there's rumors about him being shipped or what's going to happen with him. Who knows? There's just so many pieces going on. We do not have a first-round pick, so this was a really big year for the Griffins to kind of really take advantage and win their 3rd Calder Cup, and it's real disappointing to see them only make it to the Central Division Finals and fall short of claiming the Central Division.
Yeah. No, I agree. And especially when, the team that we lost to has currently a team that's also in the playoffs with the Carolina Hurricanes. So they're able to have a team that's doing well in the big leagues and have their AHL team without the help of the players that you would get from your NHL club. So kind of a big shame there, but I think there's some takeaways we got to look back on here in this playoffs. I mean, obviously Sebastian Cossa off the bat did not get a start in this playoffs as he led the Griffins throughout the regular season, was a top goalie in the AHL all season and AHL All-Star. Had very much so a lot of questions why he didn't get at least a game or two here. I was all about Postava getting the start and kind of doing what he did. It was great to watch, and it was really exciting to see him take over like that. However, you have a guy here on the bench that just probably really hungry to get that start, and you didn't give it to him. And I don't know who's making that decision. You got to wonder if maybe Steve Yzerman up top is kind of putting a lot of pressure on Dan Watson to play who he wants to see. Because it sure seems to me like every time the Grand Rapids Griffins get into the playoffs after the Red Wings have been eliminated, all of the Detroit fans and everyone comes down to Grand Rapids and like the expectations become very high instantly. And not that they wouldn't be regardless, but Steve Yzerman staring down from the rafters sometimes feels very ominous.
Yeah, I mean he'll sit up there and he'll perch right over the ledge, and you can look right up, and there's Steve Yzerman, and that puts some extreme pressure on these players. It's like do or die right now.
It's like the Majora's Mask moon, like Legend of Zelda. You got the Majora's Mask moon that's coming down in 3 days, and every day it just gets bigger. And yeah, it kind of feels like that. I feel for the Griffins when they're under pressure like that. And then the crowd, the NHL crowd comes to town, comes to the van, and kind of, if we don't perform well, you hear about it.
Yeah, you hear a lot more of the these guys can't even pass. Like, get all these randoms in there. Are you kidding me? Why can't they score?
And this Griffins team, they were great. Even being down 3-0 in an elimination game, they still find a way to put 2 goals up to make it a game in the last, desperation effort. They gave it all they had. It's a team I'm going to miss, a team that I really enjoyed watching all season. One of my favorites for sure as a Griffins fan. And I hope all these guys that do move out, and I wish the best for them all in their future careers if they do leave Grand Rapids. So, and that goes for Dan Watson too. You don't know how long Dan Watson can be kept under this roof. How sick is he of just having his team kind of taken from him once the Red Wings are out of the playoffs and Yzerman's taken over the room. I mean, after every trade deadline and all this, I think at some point you just want your team in complete control over it.
Yeah, sometimes you don't really think of that NHL pressure. Obviously, you see the Chicago Wolves had that kind of situation with the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes have had that major pressure. They just kind of come to town and take over the team, and Chicago didn't like it. The Charlotte Checkers didn't like it, and it's just interesting the relationship between the AHL and NHL teams. I think the Griffins and Red Wings have a great relationship, but you almost kind of got to balance the actual, when you get your players reinforcements, the NHL team gets eliminated, you can get those players to the AHL, but at the same time, here comes the bigwigs from the NHL too, telling you who's playing and who's doing this and who's doing that. I'm not in the locker room. I don't know myself if that's what's happening, but it sure does seem like it sometimes.
And yeah, I mean, some of this has to be Dan Watson's call. Like to start Tyler Engel in that game, for him to come up with that goal. I mean, that's a Dan Watson decision. I mean, it's just got to be. He knows the guy. He's been in and out the lineup all season and been able to make that call. Like, this is a veteran that needs to be in the lineup tonight for our elimination game. And then he scores the big goal to keep the game tied, to move to overtime. Yeah, I think a lot of this is Dan Watson's making a lot of these good plays, but is up against it when it comes to the players that he's actually got to choose from.
So, yeah. So, talking about the playoffs, kind of. So, who would you say your playoff MVP is, Kyle?
It's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of guys to choose from. Carter Mazer, obviously, with 5 goals in this series, who's put up a huge effort, got us through the Moose series almost single-handedly. I mean, a lot of our top scorers like John Leonard and Dominic Shine became a little more absent, but I think Carter Mazer in the overall playoffs here, I'm going to go with him, and really unfortunate to see him leave in that last game again. So,
yeah, I can almost pretty much agree with Carter Mazer. A couple other guys that kind of stood out to me were Michael Brandsegg-Nygard, who really stepped up. He was kind of like the man who had the next level. He was clutch. Him and Mazer were clutch players this year, along with Edwards Traumax. I thought Edwards Traumax really looked great in the playoffs for us. And
yeah, can't forget about Sheldon Dries here too. I mean, in those waning moments of the season, Sheldon Dries able to keep us alive as well with huge plays, assisting on that Michael Brandsegg-Nygard goal in overtime, and then assisting on the Traumax goal, and then getting the final goal of the season. Like, the guy put it all in there, man. Sheldon Dries, we're so glad to have you back next year.
Yeah, so just an ending to a great season that's never fun. It's an ending to mine Kyle's covering of the team for the summer.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily going to be done. We still are going to do our Players in the Pipeline series, but
yeah, there's things to look forward to this offseason. We have just as much work to put in, if not more, than the Grand Rapids Griffins and Detroit Red Wings. So we got a lot of improvements to make in our show, and we're looking forward to that and bringing you guys a better show as we move on. So yeah, some off-season things to catch up with. We got Players in the Pipeline. Try to get some lights up in here.
yeah, do some studio upgrades, a bunch of stuff. Just try to improve the show, better all quality, learn some more how to make it a better podcast for everyone. Maybe try to get some more involvement with the actual Griffins next year. See what we can do.
Yeah. So that should basically wrap us up for our game reviews for the Chicago playoff series now that it is over, and some final thoughts there for you as well. But yeah, gonna be missing covering this team for sure as we move forward.
Yep.
That being said, I think we can move into the penalty box.
This is the final segment of every episode. The penalty box. We like to end the episode on a fun note and throw someone into the penalty box for a 2-minute minor, 4-minute double minor, 5-minute major, or a game misconduct. Kyle, who are you throwing into the penalty box?
This one, I don't know if it's Steve Eisenman, Dan Watson, or maybe Rupe Koistin even. Just not starting Kosa in the playoffs when he was your lead goaltender. Someone's getting a 2-minute minor for this, but obviously it cost the Grand Rapids Griffins. It didn't cost them the season because Postava played off his head, but to not start your lead, the leader of the regular season, the AHL All-Star that kind of carried the team all year, in my opinion, it's slightly offensive. There's a lot of people out there saying like, oh, the guys who are defending Kosa, who hasn't done anything for years. He's been our top goalie for 3 years. And he's been
in the top 15.
Yeah, he's been
every year.
He's been in competition with Askarov instead, and just it kind of is shocking to me how quickly we turn from him, and people are just over him. And in my opinion, it's really hard to turn away from a goalie that's his size, his athletic ability. I think it could have saved us a game or two.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there could be other things going on behind the scenes too, like maybe Kosa was in trouble or got in trouble and didn't follow the team guidelines, and Watson, he was punished. Sometimes that's what happens. Or maybe he wasn't fully healthy or fully ready to play. Maybe he was ready to go if Postava went down, but deep down, he himself knew that Pasaba was the better option. Or it was Yzerman. You just never really know the situation. So,
Yeah, it's just crazy that he didn't even get a chance. And like, if you're that worried about the confidence level, start him in game 1 versus the Chicago Wolves, where you rolled away from them in the Manitoba series. You gave Pasaba all that, but like roll back with them, give them some confidence back with game 1 in Chicago against Chicago, and maybe he plays out of his mind and shows us exactly why we shouldn't not start him the whole playoff series.
yeah, I'd just really like to have seen a little Coast in the playoffs. More of, if it was me, I would have done a back-to-back kind of thing. I would have done a Stava Kosa. And, roll with the hot hand as you decide, but don't just pick one guy.
It was shocking to me for sure. So just disappointed. The big fella just kind of got the rough end of the stick on this one, it seems like. So,
yeah. So who I am going to throw into the penalty box, I'm going to double down on the music at the Van Andel Arena. I just can't handle it. I've been thinking about it all week. We're going into overtime for game 2 against the Wolves, and we're playing the freeze dance for kids. That's not the hype you want. I think that honestly affected the game a little bit. It affected the vibe in the stadium. I think something more hype would be more appropriate.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the same hype music over and over again. And being on the road in those 2 games versus Chicago, you can just kind of feel the difference in the crowd a little bit. Like the music and the intensity level, it seemed more appropriate for the event that was happening on the ice.
Yep. So that being said, have fun in the sin bin.
I was just going to throw them again next week too until they finally switch it.
Yeah, it's getting to that point.
So for all of our sakes, just switch it.
Please. Well, all right. That should wrap us up. We will be having our season recap for the entire season and playoffs. And yeah, it's a disappointing end of the season, but that we'll have next year. And we're just going to work on getting this show better. And we're going to have some fun interviews this summer for players in the pipeline to talk about some of the upcoming players. And yeah, until next time, go Griffins.
Go Griffins.
Thank you for listening to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, give us a 5-star review. We are part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We are not partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins, Detroit Red Wings, or Toledo Walleye. We are not experts. We are just die-hard fans looking to make a community with others alike. Let's go Griffins Nation. Join the fun, like, and follow us on Facebook and X, or call into the show and have your opinion heard 1-616-319-1175. Thank you. Grand Rapids Griffins, Toledo Walleye, and Detroit Red Wings. Players, coaches, websites, and social media. Thank you AHL.com, NHL.com, ETL.com, EliteProspects.com, and anyone else putting out information on the teams. Until next time, go Griffins. Go Red Wings, go Walleye.